Oklahoma is about to kick off their first game as the official member of the SEC at home, hosting the Tennessee Volunteers. The Sooners are a 7-point underdog heading into this game. And it seems like many people are betting heavy on Tennessee to win this game and to cover that 7-point spread. But I want to warn y'all about doubting the Sooners. Under Brent Venables, Oklahoma is 13-2 at home. And this is going to be a very entertaining game to watch from the standpoint of you got two head coaches who are phenomenal on their ends of the football. Josh Heupel, the head coach of the Vols, is one of the best offensive minds in the sport. Brent Venables is one of the best defensive minds in the sport. So which side of the ball for these respective coaches is going to come out on top? We're going to see a chess match. You're going to have Brent Venables' defense versus Josh Heupel's offense. Which one is going to be able to be the victor in this game? Because Nico Iamaleava, this true outstanding redshirt freshman quarterback for Tennessee, he's been outstanding up to this point of the season. But this is the biggest test that he's had. You know, you're going on the road in a hostile environment that is playing in Norman. And it's not easy to win here. And Nico hasn't played against a team as talented as what Oklahoma is. And this is what people often overlook about Oklahoma. Although they are coming from the Big 12, Oklahoma has always been ready for the SEC because of how well they've recruited. Under Brent Venables, they have recruited at a top 10 level every single season. And they got an outstanding secondary. You got Billy Bowman. You got a very good linebacker in Danny Stutzman. And best believe that Brent Venables, he's going to be sending a lot of aggressive looks at Nico Iamaleava's way. And Tennessee does have a really good offensive line, but what makes Tennessee's offense so hard to stop is how much they can generate big plays and the vertical passing game downfield with ease. With this air raid offense, no huddle, it's the fastest offense in college football. Brent Venables is going to try to do his best to disrupt the timing and the rhythm of Tennessee's offense. And with how aggressive Brent Venables likes to call his defenses, I wonder how Nico Iamaleava is going to handle the aggressive style of defense that Oklahoma is going to be throwing up on the field against him, because he's never gone up against a defense this tough. Iowa in the bowl game doesn't count. This is a different animal that is Brent Venables, and now he's going to be able to run the style of defense that he was running when he was such a great defensive coordinator for Clemson. That's something that needs to be looked out for. And Oklahoma has experienced ball hawking secondary. They were one of the best teams in the nation last year at forcing turnovers. So I'm really excited to see Tennessee's offense against Oklahoma's defense. You got Brent Venables, Josh Heupel going head-to-head. Who's going to be the victor in this head-to-head matchup between these two masterminds when it comes to their respective sides of the football? Because Tennessee's deep at receiver, but Oklahoma's deep in the secondary. So who's going to come up on top? And then when you look at Oklahoma's offense versus Tennessee's defense, what concerns me about Oklahoma offensively is their offensive line, because Tennessee is walking in here with one of the best defensive lines in college football. Not only do they have a lot of talent on their D-line, but they got a lot of depth at that position as well, where they can rotate guys in and keep them fresh. But if Oklahoma's offensive line can hold up and they can keep Jackson Arnold upright, I like Oklahoma's chances of being able to have a great game offensively, because Tennessee's biggest weakness is their secondary. And when you have an offense that runs the amount of plays that Tennessee does, this defense can get gassed really fast. And although they do have talent up front, if you can neutralize those guys and keep guys like James Pierce Jr. off of Jackson Arnold, then he could carve up Tennessee's questionable secondary. Oklahoma has a lot of great skill guys. They are deep at wide receiver, and I love the running back Gavin Sawchuk. Not only is it a fun name to say, but this dude is lightning in a bottle. Not only does he have a good blend of elusiveness and power, but he's pretty good when it comes to catching the football out of the backfield as well. And I believe if Oklahoma is going to win this game against Tennessee, Gavin Sawchuk is going to be a major reason why. Because if Oklahoma's offensive line plays well and they can get that ground game going, they can wear down that Tennessee defense to the point where every time they touch the football, they can milk the clock and keep that offense off the field. You see, that's the kind of style that you got to have when you're going up against Tennessee's offense. If you can keep them off the field and you can play bully ball with them, then you can kind of neutralize how effective that offense is, because that offense can score really fast. We know that. But at the same time, running an offense that way tires out your defense. So therefore, if Oklahoma can get out to a big lead early, let's say it's 14-0, and Oklahoma can just go to the ground game and they just can churn out long drives that are like 7-8 minutes long, regardless of how fast Tennessee can score, if you can't keep Oklahoma from having success on the ground, they can dominate you when it comes to TOP. And regardless of how fast you score, it's going to be hard to win a ball game where you have to make every drive offensively count. Because if you can't stop Oklahoma's ground game, they're going to end up having a lot of time to just slow down your defense, wear those guys out, and that's where Tennessee can find themselves in trouble. Jackson Arnold. I love this dude. I love him just as much as I love Nico Iamaleava. As a matter of fact, they both come out of the same recruiting class. They were both highly touted recruits coming out of high school. Jackson Arnold was the Gatorade Player of the Year. And unlike Nico Iamaleava, he's been kind of up and cold up to this point. He had a really good game against Tulane, but the week before he didn't really look so hot. So the thing with Jackson Arnold is that you want to get him hot early because he's a very streaky player. Sometimes he can start the game out really cold and then heat up later. Tennessee is not one of those teams where you can wait to play your best football. You got to be able to come out hot and strike where the iron is hot early. And for Jackson Arnold, if you can take care of the football, I love your chances of being able to have a good game, because that's really the biggest issue with Jackson Arnold. Like, he doesn't really have any accuracy problems. His problem comes with decision making. Sometimes he doesn't really make the best decisions. Sometimes he'll force balls into places that they don't need to be in. No pun intended, no homo, no diddy. Don't take that the wrong way. But Jackson Arnold has the ability to open things up for Oklahoma offensively against a really good Tennessee defense because of how good of an athlete he is. Nico Iamaleava is a really good athlete, but I think Jackson Arnold is better just because he's a more physical runner. I think he's more elusive in the open field as well. He has better vision. So if you can get Jackson Arnold hot early and you can get this offense rolling and, along with the ground game, I love Oklahoma to win this game because you do have that home field advantage. Nico Iamaleava, he's never played in an environment like this. And he could be the one who ends up getting rattled with how aggressive Brent Venables is going to be calling this defense. He's going to force Nico Iamaleava to have to show college football just how good he is. And everybody's just quick to anoint Nico Iamaleava as the next great Tennessee quarterback when he really hasn't been tested yet. What's been Tennessee's best opponent before this game? What? NC State? NC State isn't good. They're an 8-9 win team consistently, but they're no Oklahoma. And I'm going to take the Sooners to win this game because, they're a 7-point dog. I love them to cover because they're 13-2 at home. And they beat Texas last year. Texas almost made it to the national championship. They were a playoff team last year. So you already have shown that you're able to beat SEC competition alone just by beating Texas. So if you can beat Texas, then you can beat Tennessee. Tennessee is a really good team, but going on the road and winning in Norman is not as good as what people are making it out to be. Just because Oklahoma comes from the Big 12 and they're playing in the SEC doesn't mean that they're not ready for this level of competition. I think that's a big misconception that most people have when they break down this game, because you can be a great team in an inferior conference. Oklahoma recruits too well to not be able to show up and give Tennessee a competitive game. Give me the Sooners to win. 24-17 is going to be my final score prediction for this game. I believe that we're going to see that Brent Venables defense that we saw at Clemson, and Nico Iamaleava is going to look human in this game. This isn't Kent State when you can just call onside kick and just get whatever you want to. You know, this Oklahoma team, they got a lot of talent. They are physical defense. And the biggest issue that they've had the first couple of years under Brent Venables has been fixed. It's been their lack of pass rush and their lack of depth on the interior of that defensive line. They got that fixed now. So look out for the Oklahoma Sooners. I love them to win this game, and I love them to cover.